And we are back, and we just finished watching Mr. Harrigan's Phone from 2022, rated PG with a runtime of 1 hour and 44 minutes. This is based on a short story by the legendary Stephen King with screenwriting and directing credit to John Lee Hancock. This is the story of young Craig, who in the course of several years in this small little Maine town loses his mother but gains a friendship with the town billionaire, Mr. Harrigan, played by Donald Sutherland, and forges a friendship through, I guess, reading to the old man 3 times a week, something that he did consistently with the exception of one time when he had the flu. I think he mentioned that in the story. And then, like Vince Vaughn says in Old School, he dies because that's what old people do. And a present that Craig had given sort of maybe kind of links him and Mr. Harrigan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could sort of talk about it because they give it all away in the trailer.
Mm-hmm. And the title of the story as well. Yeah. I'm going to go around I'm going to go around the table and get impressions. I'm going to start with you. What did you think?
I mean, I thought it was an interesting idea for a story.
Yes.
I don't know if it was enough of an idea to carry. Like, how long was this movie?
1 hour and 44 minutes, but it felt so much longer.
Yeah, I don't feel it was strong enough to carry an 1 hour and 44 minute movie. Like I would probably say the first hour of the movie was very slow.
Oh my gosh.
Nothing was really happening.
I would say the first, okay. So the pacing on this is wild. I mean, I've seen longer movies that move at a better clip.
Yeah, I mean, there was just a lot. I guess you could associate it with character building, but I feel like that could have been done a lot more efficiently. I mean, it wasn't the most boring movie I've ever watched. No, but but it got a little bit to the point where I was like, okay, can we move this along?
Yes, I agree. That to me was the biggest complaint about this movie. I'm not a professional screenwriter, so I don't know how you would tackle that, but the pacing on this was brutal. I felt like Mr. Harrigan was decomposing faster in the ground than this movie moved.
Yeah, I feel like they could have. I mean, this should have been like an episode of some sort of
anthology,
ghost story anthology that's only maybe 40 minutes.
Yes.
I think that would have worked really well.
Right, agreed.
But this, no, not so much.
Yeah.
And there was also like the whole, I guess, aside from like the spooky ghost stuff, which honestly wasn't really that spooky, there's also the whole commentary about cell phones and
social
media
and fake news
and just how it's just terrible.
Yes. Which isn't wrong, but also that scene made me kind of roll my eyes because I was like,
it was kind of out of place.
Yeah, I was like, I don't need to be preached to. I understand all these things.
Yeah, I mean, if I wanted to see a movie about that, I would watch a movie about that. I'm sure that's that is a very interesting subject.
Yes,
it's depressing.
Yes,
but it's interesting. But I don't know. I came here for a ghost story.
Agreed. I'm gonna go to the next. Do you have any more thoughts before I move on? Nah. Olive G, what did you think of this film?
I kind of liked it.
Yeah, what'd you like about it?
Probably like the fact that this ghost is basically killing people.
For this kid?
Yeah, and he like the first time he doesn't even know it. Mm-hmm. Like he thinks it's all just like, wait, is this just luck? Right.
Well, I think there's something to be said for that, right? I mean, Craig anyway, consistently tries to get, I guess, some clarity by asking the adults in his environment whether what he thinks is happening, or is there a more logical, more, I guess, in real life reasoning behind the events that are happening in his orbit.
Yeah, I mean, he does try to discover how these people passed away. Because, I mean, who's going to believe that? It's like, oh, I called up a dead guy and
I bitched and moaned about the situation, and now my bully is dead.
Now my bully is dead.
I mean, I wish life was that easy.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I kind of found it interesting how, like, the way people died was kind of, like, connected to him and Mr. Harrigan, because the bully told him, like, to polish his shoes or else he'll make him eat the polish. And if you saw, like, the bully ate the polish and, like, fell down the same way that he did when, like, the bully was, like, beating him up.
Yeah.
And also with, like, that other guy that killed the teacher, he choked on a bar of soap that I guess Mr. Harrigan used. Mm-hmm. And he, like, the death note was actually a thing from the song.
Right.
You know, that, like, Mr. Harrigan listens to in his car, like, on the radio.
Right.
And, like, that was about it. Like, that's what I found interesting about, like the deaths and stuff like that. But, like, I also found it interesting, like, why didn't it work with the second phone? Did he just, like, delete him off the contacts or whatever?
I think there was just, because that was the phone that they initially connected with each other on.
Yes.
So, like, it was that phone that had that kind of spiritual.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think to kind of add to what your dad just said. So again, do you remember that scene where he's talking to Harrigan, where Craig's talking to Harrigan, and Harrigan asks him, "Well, why do you come here? You could be with your friends or, you know, young people or something. Why do you want to spend time with some old coot?" Right? And you see that Craig has an affinity for Mr. Harrigan, that he enjoys the time that they have together, that he actually looks at him as a friend. And as a friend, he didn't have to, because at that point, I mean, he wasn't rich. He won like $3,000 off a scratch off, which is a lot of money for somebody in his situation, but it's not a fortune. But he had the presence of mind to buy his friend an iPhone so that they could communicate and keep in touch. And he took the time to show him how to. So it wasn't just a gift. It was also symbolic of their friendship. And phones are a way of communicating, right? So I think by putting...
Like one way of communicating.
One way of communicating. But the beauty of the phone is that I can pick up the phone and call you, and you respond, and then you talk back to me. So it's an open source of communication between two people. And I think that for someone who had everything, like Harrigan, what do you give a man who has everything? There's really not much. But in this case, Craig gave Harrigan his friendship. And in exchange, Harrigan made sure that Craig was looked after. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Also, like, I found it weird because in the letter he wrote to him, he says all miss are like afternoons too.
Yeah.
But like the thing was, that was 2 months before he sent the text message. So like, how is that possible? Because like he was still alive.
That's a good question. That's where you get into the elements of supernaturalness, because it's like, well, how would he have known, right? Maybe it was just something that he thought that Craig would think in the moment, like, because he says, if you're reading this, I'm dead, right? So speaking from a place of them no longer being in the same space, right? He would probably think, oh, well, this kid's going to miss me, so I'm going to write something nice here at the end. So, I mean, that could be an explanation for it, but you don't know, right?
I think that line probably got added after he died. I mean, he's clearly capable of doing stuff after he's dead.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
He had that much will. I mean, he was like, that was like probably one of the more interesting things about the movie was
Harrigan's character.
Harrigan's character, because he seems just like this. He's like this old billionaire, and then you read about Craig reads about him, and you find out that he is just a ruthless
scary guy.
He made his fortune, and he did not treat his enemies kindly. And he even says that what do you do when somebody bullies you? You dispatch him with haste.
Yes, I love that.
Like that was interesting because you don't really get that from the guy in the beginning. You figure it's just like some old guy
frail
who's
old guy.
lonely and wants, some company. But he is just like a stone cold killer.
Yeah. Like
And,
Mr. Rogers.
I'm pretty sure he made that guy commit suicide.
Possibly.
I don't even know if he made him commit suicide. I think he had some, because you saw the scratch ticket in his truck.
Do you think that guy stole them?
Stole what?
The scratch ticket.
No, I think that was just sort of Harrigan saying, "I got you." It's sort of like a calling card.
So what was the significance of giving them to Craig?
I don't know. I guess he didn't have. Yeah, at that advanced age, he wasn't killing as many people, and he had a whole drawer of them. I don't know.
Well, maybe it was just like as a thank you.
Yeah,
No.
I guess another way he was a billionaire was he was cheap.
Yeah.
I mean,
And he didn't have
the
family.
The kid worked for him for like what,
$5.
years?
Yeah,
And
and he's getting $5
anything more than $5
plus a scratch off ticket.
plus a scratcher.
A $1 scratch off.
And the scratcher was only like on special occasions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I feel like Harrigan was a more interesting character than Craig.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Craig was
lovelily played by Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, Craig. Harrigan was way more interesting than Craig.
Yeah, but they were kind of the same because Harrigan's mother died when he was a little boy, just like how his mother died when he was a little boy.
Right. And Craig also comes to the epiphany that they were both lonely. And that's another reason why they both connected.
Yeah.
So, Gigi, what'd you think of this film?
This movie was boring as all get out.
Yeah, I saw you. Yeah, this was long. I agree with you. This would have worked better as a 40-minute anthology piece. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about it. I love Stephen King. I love Donald Sutherland. I think, what's that kid's name? Jaeden Martell. He's great. The kid who plays Craig.
But yeah, this wasn't gonna.
This went on way too long.
Way too slow. Not enough to hook you in.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Donald Sutherland's performance was very good.
Yes, very, very good.
Everybody did.
Actually, yeah, everyone did. Even the crazy housekeeper.
Boy.
Although she did call him his name.
Oh, she did
in the
eventually?
kitchen.
In
Yeah,
the kitchen?
she did call him
She
Craig.
softened up a bit.
She softened up a bit. Yeah.
She reminded me of the tall man from Phantasm.
Yeah, she had the same structure.
That sort of demeanor and
Facial structure.
Angus Scrim.
Yeah.
And she called him boy. And
Yeah.
The Angus Scrim called I forgot what the kid's name was in Phantasm.
I mean, it wasn't the worst thing. It wasn't the best thing. It was just meh. I think the story behind it was interesting. I think it would have been better suited to stick with the Harrigan character. I think the preachiness could have been taken out. And I don't know.
It should have just been like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
40-minute TV special.
Yeah.
Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
Done. All right. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, those are
Let's just wrap it up.
Yeah, I agree with you. Netflix, go watch Werewolf by Night and take notes.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was great.
That was fun. And it didn't extend.
It was 50 something, yeah,
It was 50 something
minutes,
It
and
was listed as a special.
And it was special. It was fun. Yeah. Really, really good. It was way darker than typical Disney fare, but really, really well done. The production values are great. The actors all did good work, but the story just meandered a little too much. And I don't know. It's Stephen King. I feel like for something that's a Stephen King property, like I want to see more darkness, and that wasn't this.
Well, he's done some good stories that don't necessarily have to be
true.
Like Shawshank was
amazing.
Brilliant, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's not a ghost in it.
No, not at all. But what is let's listen. I understand that Stephen King wrote it, but let's give props to Frank Darabont, because he saw.
That's the thing. When somebody translates something into a different media, it really depends on them to tell that story using those tools.
Yeah.
Very different than writing a book. You have so much more space to write the book out.
Sure.
You're inside the characters' heads.
Yeah.
Which you can't really do with
Film.
film, which I think this tried to do by making everything in voiceover.
Right.
Which is also became very tedious.
Agreed.
Yeah, I just don't feel like this was wrong format.
Too long.
Just not enough meat on this bone for an almost 2-hour movie.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm going to go around the table and get numbers. Gigi, I'm going to start with you. 1 to 10.
Maybe like a 4.
Wow.
I didn't enjoy this film at all.
What could anything have made it better for you?
I don't know. Maybe it was just like the pacing. It took too long, and by the time people were dying, there's only 2 people dying, by the way, so that was kind of underwhelming. But by the time people were already dying, I was just gone.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I too checked out because I think when you asked, like, oh my God, how much time is left? And then you stopped it, and I was like, oh my God, another half hour? Are you kidding?
Yeah, this film, it demands of you a lot of your patience for very little payoff.
Seriously.
Especially for something that is being advertised as like a supernatural thriller. Nah.
There was no thrilling going on here.
There's
Nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The thrill is not there.
And a case, agreed with you, a case could be made that these were all coincidental occurrences.
You could, but I mean, that sort of gets waylaid by the whole...
The phone interaction.
Not only the phone, but the details. I mean, as a ghost killer, Mr. Harrigan really had a sense of style.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to make this guy choke on the teacher's favorite soap. And I'm going to make this kid eat a can of shoe polish and make his body laid out in the exact same way as Craig's body was laid out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Mr. Harrigan, he was all about the details.
Yeah.
Professional.
I think he liked killing people.
Probably.
Yeah.
So why would he tell Craig to
going
tell
on.
him to stop?
Yeah, I know.
I'm like,
he should have named ST could have. I don't know what ST could have meant. It should have just been like, "This is fun, Craig."
Yeah, keep it going.
Who's next, Craig?
Who's next, Craig?
Did the waitress look at you wrong?
Funny.
I'll take care of her, Craig.
1 to 10. What are you gonna give this film? G gave it a 4.
I would also give it a 4. It's not really good. I wouldn't even say it's just too slow. Like I said, I like the performances. It's just I don't think they handled the story well. It's not long. It's not meaty enough for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it's just paced so brutally slow that by the time you're like, oh yeah, something's happening, it's kind of like too late and not enough.
Right. Agreed.
Like I said, I was more interested in
Harrigan's backstory.
Harrigan and just even his interactions with Craig.
Yeah.
Like the scenes where Harrigan wasn't involved, I was kind of like, all right, can we move on?
Yeah, that Donald Sutherland is such a scene stealer. Even in his latter years. He's always been such a mesmerizing actor. Not particularly Hollywood attractive, but a really great performer.
Yeah, he always had a weird face for me.
Yeah. Olive G, 1 to 10.
I'd give this 7.
7. Okay.
Damn.
I'm going to give this a 6. I think there were elements in here that were interesting. I think the performances were all good. The set pieces, the whole background, costuming, all of that, like all the technical stuff was really, really well done. I think I agree with you. Unfortunately, the story meandered, but I think that if you're looking for something new and something different, this might be a surefire bet. It is from one of our more prolific American writers. And I guess just look at it and take your own messaging from it. I think there's a lot of themes that are covered here. There's loss and loneliness, dealing with that, dealing with bullies, issues of being so consumed by these little computers that we all have in our pockets now. There's a great there's kind of this great scene towards the end where he sort of like rages, well, not literally rages, but just decides to get up and remove himself from this cafeteria filled of young people just staring at their phones. I think there was also an interesting commentary where the girl that he likes, Regina, he only seems to speak to her via text. And I think
that's
annoying. But I think that's
yeah, they weren't even talking to each other. Like, can you talk in the real world? But you're standing like 5 feet away from each other. Go talk to her as an actual person.
They weren't even talking. They weren't even talking 5 feet apart. Like they were sitting at the same lunch table.
Yes, like probably like 3 steps away from
God.
each other. And like you have to
losers.
I like your sweater. And it's like, come on, man. Say something actual. Say actual words.
Well, you know what? I think that's a lesson for everyone to take in, that there's a time and a place for the phones and the social media.
Yeah,
and
I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get people not to use the phone at the dinner table, but it doesn't seem to be sticking.
Yeah. But I think that's also an interesting commentary that the film makes. I thought the scene with Craig and Mr. Harrigan was a little preachy, but it fit in with the rest of the story, so it sort of made sense. And then you see the little snippets of what he's talking about, and you can even relate it to our kind of existence now. I mean, he touches on things that, I mean, this story is supposed to take place 2008, I guess, because it starts in 2003, and then it's like 5 years later where he's in high school. And whatever.
And then eventually college.
Right? So
this story spans like 9 years.
Possibly, maybe a little bit more. But
and his father still hasn't found a woman.
I don't think he's looking. Yeah, but I think I turned to somebody at one point at the end, towards the end there, when Craig's going to college, and I was like, oh, I hope his dad finds a nice young person, or not young person, but a lady. When you said
that, I thought that he would hook up with the teacher that I thought the kid was hooking.
Yeah.
Hitting on.
You know what?
That was another. That scene with him and the teacher
was a little weird.
I feel was like a flaw in the storytelling. Yeah. Because that came off a lot weirder than it needed to be, and the purpose.
It came off like
it came off a little creepy
and cringy.
But the reasoning for it was to just give us that little bit of information that the teacher used that particular brand of soap.
Well, there's that, but she also becomes sort of like a de facto mother figure for him.
True, but that's the problem. It didn't come off that way.
It didn't.
I mean, what little kid goes to his mom and says,
favorite soap?
"You smell good." Yeah.
Yeah. That's why
I thought that was Mr. Harrison's.
If a little kid goes up to their mom and says, "You smell nice," that's normal. Little kids say weird stuff all the time. But for a high schooler to tell that to his pretty young teacher.
Yeah,
that's cringe.
She's got a point.
That's a little weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody's.
Yeah. I mean, when it was happening, I completely freaked out. I'm like, what is going on here?
It's
no kissing, please.
Like when I'm at if I go to work, I don't look at somebody sitting next to me and go, "You smell really nice."
God,
you're in the elevator. You smell great, you know. That's gross.
That's not socially acceptable behavior,
not socially
people.
Acceptable
and
at all.
and for me, the purpose of that scene was to say, okay, the teacher liked using that soap. We need that piece of information. So later on, when we find out the drunk driver basically choked himself with a bar of soap,
half a bar,
and it was that brand. That's just really sloppy storytelling right there. I know you got to get that information out there, but that was just
try and
done.
do it in a better way.
Do it in a better way. Be a little bit more subtle. Show it. Don't tell it.
Yes,
seriously,
something like that.
He could have asked what brand of perfume she used instead of saying, "You smell nice."
It felt like it was going in a very different direction.
Especially with her getting his partner for the dance to leave the room.
Yes.
Yeah,
and she's touching his face. And cleaning them up, and yeah.
Like,
So
gives off wrong vibes.
Yes.
yes,
Very
Yeah.
wrong vibes.
very wrong. So I know that we said that when we weren't 100% with a movie, we would say go watch Paddington 2. But in this case, in the month of October, I think that a better alternative, I probably should have looked it up, would be something like The Sixth Sense, which is a brilliant movie, brilliantly told, brilliantly executed on every level, from the performances, but more importantly from the storytelling, because I think that if that script hadn't been so damn strong, that wouldn't have been as great a movie as it is. And I think what you just said, the whole show Don't Tell, is 100% firing on all cylinders in that particular piece. So if you get a chance and you're looking for something new, I guess you can go check out Mr. Harrigan's Phone. But if you want compelling story with amazing performances,
I'm 11, you bald bastard.
there's also Stranger Things, right? But movie wise,
What the hell?
I would recommend The Sixth Sense instead.
Well, there's that new movie with Erica. That's her name.
Yes, we should probably get that on the docket. We'll talk about that another time.
Squeeze that in there.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Did I get everybody's numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4,
What-
4,
6,
7, and
7.
6.
Okay. So
Don't watch this movie.
Yeah, you don't need to see this.
Yeah.
It's a maybe.
I mean, if you're super bored and you've gone through every streaming service, I guess this is a newer thing.
There's a lot of Halloween stuff out there.
There is a lot
there's
more.
a lot of better
Different-
ghost
Like
stories out
the
there.
Yeah.
Killer Pinata or Jesus Christ Vampire Slayer.
Is that still on Prime? We should really watch
I
that.
think. I mean, if you dig deep into Prime, you will find just
Some
the
gems.
bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, wasn't that
dare
movie?
you.
That,
How
that
dare
movie
you.
that we stumbled upon one time was called like La Rectuma or something, where that guy's butt turns green and like it's evil or something.
Oh my! That sounds vaguely familiar, and I wouldn't be surprised if that.
I took a
if that's
picture
on
of that
there.
description. I remember that.
I bet that's on there, and I bet there's probably a sequel.
And also, like, I'm pretty sure there's like
Velocipaster.
this.
Velocipaster.
Also, I'm pretty sure like there's this other movie about like a killer turkey or something for Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Thanksgiving.
Yes, we should do
Yes.
that for Thanksgiving, actually. We gotta get that on the list. Okay, so that's it from us, and we will bid you all a
Good night.
Night.
good night.